you put it like that, those are serious issues.
Yeah.
So this culture is beautiful, but do you think there are sides to it? Then we'll tell the people who created that culture that we think you are wise, we think you did well, but we think you should also look at, this other side. Exposing these girls like that can make it dangerous. It is in those strong points the advocacy will come. But the first trending point of why are they all naked, the Okrika, why are you people doing initiation to womanhood, we did not seek to understand. But when we bring it like that and say, exposing them, so we can give families options. Even in the Lagos Eyo family, there are different levels to it among the families that carry it out. So these people can say, we choose not to. My family now, in the full South Ibi where I'm from, we don't do burials. My mother's family, they don't do burials. But people still do burials. My in-laws do burials. So when somebody dies there, I will go to my in-law side and do the needful. And I will come to my side when it's my side. Please, thank you very much. We are not doing. I'm seeking to understand. And I'm hoping that the other side too, they will evolve to the point where they will practice Islam fully like we do on my side. But to sit in judgment is to even make them aggressive towards the idea. So when we talk to them now and say, exposing these girls, look at the boys that are witnessing. Like someone suggested, there shouldn't have been cameras at this event.
Exactly.
Maybe they are trying to get tourism like the Zulu people. There shouldn't have been men at this event. I know that the women in the session they do in my place, men do not attend. Old women carry wrappers, and when the girls are changing, there will be Hollandian wrappers that they will use to flag the girl down because they understand the fact of decency. We can advocate things like that.
So they shouldn't have put the cameras there.
I Googled the initiation of men, and that came up. And the pictures that we are seeing there is only 2 naked women. There were loads of naked women. I just saw that picture.
Right.
Now, all of them were naked. But then I see the one of men. I haven't seen
naked men.
If in Iwa Oka. So I would like anybody from there to tell us if the men get naked.
I know the one in the north where they do the ceremony and the young boys are then initiated publicly. Circumcised publicly. The ceremony is big. I've seen that one in the past, and it was up north. So people have different cultures. But what I will advocate here is that we evaluate culture. From time to time, we reassess our culture and see what is working, what is not working for us.
Let's take a few comments.
But we must also, as Africans, before we do that, always seek to understand what brought it back.
Wait, which is a valid argument. Let's take a few comments. But I think
so. We have comments. Andrew in Street Time says, so Tokwe, if your boys marry Zulu girls and they initiate their wedding ceremony dressed topless, what would you do as Iyoko or mother-in-law? Will you accept it?
It's their life.
Chia Gozie says, the people that own the culture are not complaining. In fact, they anticipate it the way most people prepare for birthdays. We should not drink Panadol on someone else's head. Bolaji says, good morning. Culture is culture. Word practices in traditional practices is a known fact, yet it is our identity. This is how we cancel culture by deciding what is right or not. Reexamine is another fancy word for modernizing culture.
Let me take Aisha. I'll come back to you. Aisha from Kano, thanks for calling.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Morano, good morning.
Good morning, lady.
Good morning.
This
Good morning.
culture, these ladies, they might not be happy. Because in my place, they used to practice it, but really, I don't like it.
Network.
It's not a good thing. I don't like it.
Aisha, we didn't hear you. What did you say? Please say that again.
They might not be happy.
We should confirm if they're interested in this culture. We should confirm. We don't know their mind.
So we should confirm whether they are happy with the culture. But because it's a repeated...
Ebika says, I know some really weird things happening in the village. I know they practice. I think she's somewhere, she's from Rivers. I'm looking for her text.
Okay, so Chokus says, I hope we realize that patriarchy is ingrained in many cultures and has been penetrated for many generations. Perpetrated for many generations. Should it continue? Also, some cultures are cannibalistic. What's the argument for perpetuating such?
Okay, let me go on a short break.
Okay.
Go ahead, okay.
Mina says, we have embraced the white man's culture such that every part of our culture seems wrong and needs to be analyzed. What gives you the right to say if people's culture is wrong when they are not hurting anyone.
Let me
How
take
is it-
And
Bayelsa.
Nam says, you haven't seen the Wadume culture. Please stop it. Even the Masai.
Masai. Let me take Shola from Bayelsa. Thanks for calling, Shola.
Oh, yeah, good morning.
Engineer Shola, you're live.
Morning,
Go ahead.
morning.
Morning,
Yeah.
sir.
This is my first time.
Welcome to the show.
Yeah, thank you. Your topic today is very interesting. I'm not a Rivers person, but I'm based in Rivers. What I can attest to this issue is that culture should be respected in many ways. If you condemning these people that because they are doing tradition and culture, opening their body, how can you compare it with our guests walking on the street, opening their body without any control?
It's fashion.
I get my point. But this particular one is for a ceremony, and it has a limited time for them to do it. So I see no reason why somebody would just say because they are doing their culture, it should be abolished or they should not. If we continue to think that we want to copy the Western world, we get it wrong. This is what has cost us a lot in this country. In the area of politics, in the area of our economy and what have you, we copy everything. That is
Thank you very much,
that's what makes so
You know,
where we are.
thank you very much, Engineer.
Exactly, like if they allow our politicians to swear on Ifa,
Okay, then
you see that they won't steal again.
You know, I think about these Oro festivals and stuff we do here in Ikorodu, and you think of the fact that, so you have government trying to talk about noise pollution. You can't be on the streets shouting and preaching the word of God, and because people will report you. And then you have Oro guys, Oro festival priests, walking on the street and shouting and screaming. And I'm just saying that there's always that clash of culture, governance, what is right, and modernity.
you don't even say the words of Uru Festival.
Which one?
So there's the no movement.
Yes.
Which
affects.
we can even accept. But the consequence of the movement inside no movement is
You're not supposed to say a woman, right? I think.
Yeah.
You're not meant to say.
You should not be seen or you'll be killed. In some climes.
Exactly.
So it's the extreme.
But
so
we
we
don't
must
judge.
evaluate culture. We must. But we must seek to understand it first to be able to change it. If we must change it at all, Arike Ogundoku says culture with question mark like 5 and says it should be checked again. And that's final.
Yeah, we should check culture.
We should check it.
Let me take this call, then we'll try to evaluate that. Obi from Akute, thanks for calling.
Yeah, thank you so much. Good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
And good morning to everyone in the studio. Yes, I want to really applaud our Alaja this morning for
Alaja is the
being a
star for
wonderful, for giving us a very, very outstanding explanation about our tradition and culture in Nigeria. Firstly, culture is a way of life. We should not forget that fact. You know, what we do here in Nigeria is about imbibing other people's culture into our system, which is not helping us in any way. You know, our culture is our life, and we shouldn't forget that. Now we are copying the Westerners on how they dress, on how they do their things, which is not helping us. Before now, in Ibadan, in Abeokuta, they will put their wares on the tray for you to buy. You won't see anybody there. You buy, you put down your money, and you go. Nobody will steal your wares. You understand? But right now, we've seen so many things happening over there. Everybody's trying to cut corners to get better than the other person, leaving what we're supposed to be doing. With this culture that we have left behind, we're imbibing other people's culture, which has actually bastardized our culture and turned our economy into a state of disarray. Do you understand? Once we go back to our culture, we will get better.
I don't even know what
Thank
to
you very
say
much, Mr.
because
Obi.
it's so the phone
Pick and
calls.
choose.
Yes, we pick and choose. We're receiving phone calls. We're not talking about the culture of stealing or the culture of corruption. We're talking about the culture of letting a young girl calling initiation to womanhood as being topless. That's the culture we're talking about. We're talking about the fact that your process to become a woman is that you are bare-chested. Paintings are made on your body. The paintings are made on your body and you are still covered. This is me as a woman saying that I am grateful to God that in my side of the country, my culture did not put me at that level of vulnerability when I am still trying to decide if I like myself or if I'm validating myself. And then I'm looking at some people to be validating me. Do you know what teenagers go through in their mind? The pressure
The mental torture.
The mental torture of just being different. You are waking up every day, your body is changing. One day you're having pimples. Another day your breast is going from pineapple to watermelon in front of you, and you don't know what emotions are running dry. And in that same thing, the culture is saying, when we talk about culture, somebody called in and said, our culture is patriarchal. Our culture does not consider the emotional feeling of a woman. The culture is focusing on this is the way when we've seen you, you are becoming this, now you have become a woman, then they can now marry you. We're not thinking about how that makes a woman feel. And that's how many areas.
Even how it makes her husband feel when he now finally married. But yeah, you that they've showed
we
you
don't think about it. So me as a woman on the receiving end, thinking about the girl that did not have a father to fight for her to say she must be covered. And the fear of missing out, making somebody commit to a culture that they, in their hearts, do not like. That we should reconsider it, because we know that there are many cultures we have reconsidered. The good cultures we would continue to hold on to. Nobody here is arguing that the culture of us being honest is something that we should discard. No. But the men calling in, giving example of religion, the men calling in, giving example of, oh, you are saying...
Give me example of good culture.
You kneel down to greet your parents. That's a good culture.
What?
You kneel down to greet your parents. Respectful culture is
we
very,
have
very
respect as culture. We have a culture of shaming crime. We have a culture of shaming crime. If you have done evil, they bring you to the town, the center of the village, like, oh, this person has committed crime. We don't do it. So we have kept a few culture that we feel this culture.
The culture of naming ceremony, the culture of wedding. These are practices. How do you name a child?
How we do wedding ceremonies.
These are things you use the atare, you use your pamoe, you use your. These are things. It's cultural. That's your name a child. That's how.
Most naming ceremonies, that's naming ceremony. They've turned it into Christian.
Yes.
They've turned it into Christian. So we have not kept that culture.
Yeah.
Yes. And
so
that's
many of us have stopped it.
What I'm trying to say is, when we are saying culture, most of these cultures we have
good ones.
The good ones, where are they?
Not keeping it.
Yeah, okay, well, Christianity has, I mean,
because
the religion has...
We are saying this one is bad. I'm not, if you notice, I'm not saying whether it's good or bad.
Or against
I'm just saying which one is good and which one is bad.
I think what we have all agreed...
The so-called good ones, where are they? Which ones do we practice? We don't.
I think what we've all agreed on this table is that we need to examine it. Nobody wants us to uphold a bad culture. Nobody here believes that we should objectify young girls. We're just saying that we should respect it because it's coming from somewhere, which I think is a valid argument. Respect before you begin to judge. Understand where they're coming from. What's the genesis of this practice? When we understand this, we can now better advocate and suggest and get them so they'll be the one to change it themselves, not outside saying, no, this is how it must be done. So I think we all agree.
So if they haven't complained, let's wait for them to say, I don't like it.
You know, there was a culture where if a woman loses her husband, it is cultural that they will gather. That she will sleep with the man.
Yes.
She will sleep by the side of that man. Drink the water they used to. And that culture, they did not, it is not the Umuada, I don't know what they used. It is not those people that came out to say it is wrong. It is people from the outside that heard. It is those that were enlightened that had the opportunity to see that this thing doesn't happen in other parts of the world. Some were unfortunate. And they were there and they died from it.
Don't say they didn't complain. No.
Some were unfortunate that they did not want. You know, it's the only reason you can question something is because you have an option. If you never had an option, all you've done all your life is what you will continue to do until somebody gives you another option. Until you come to Lagos and you see that women are inheriting properties.
Well,
we have a culture now.
There's a reason why
I have a conversation with a friend of mine who knows, even as she's spending money helping her father to maintain all his properties, that she will not take anything from the property because she's a woman. And that culture is still being upheld today. So, and we're not going to say it is wrong.
There's a culture that I know that it was made voluntary. That's why I'm emphasizing voluntariness. Me saying, I know this thing is done by my people and I want to do it. It will make me feel good. And then someone now comes and says on my behalf, don't do it. I'm the one who chose and opted to do it. For instance, the widowhood practice here. People no longer practice widowhood in the Southwest where I'm from. But some women will voluntarily say, I must go through it. I saw someone who says, I want my in-laws to inherit me so that I remarry within the family. I don't want to leave this family. And people have complained that women should not be inherited. But she was opting for it as a security. That's why I say, let's seek to understand.
Yeah. Let me take this comment.
Let's seek to understand why.
Somebody says, according to Mahatma Gandhi, a nation's culture resides in the hearts and in the soul of its people. So why then should we be calling out indecent dressing? If we applaud the young ladies walking bare-breasted in public, why do we then attribute indecent dressing as alien? So you see a girl wearing maybe whatever it is, skimpy things, even maybe in
they will wear rope,
and we are accusing
and
her.
catwalk.
So we shouldn't be accusing anybody.
We will be there. We will be voting. We will vote on Big Brother for the naked women having public nudity and sex.
And even making love inside the thing.
And we will vote. And the person
Not
will
only
imagine
vote, we'll be
there was
watching.
one girl twerking all through. It was the voluntary. It was the Igbo culture.
I don't watch.
You are making money. I don't watch.
You opt in.
Thank you, Tokpe.
For culture, it is right of passage. They're not getting.
Freedom of choosing.
Yeah, no.
Tokpe.
For
That's a choice.
your Big Brother is a choice. Your right of passage is what makes you a woman in that community.
It's mandatory.
Do you know that in some... Oh,
Tokpe,
please.
no, don't
See,
say
you know,
that.
I've kept quiet for a
People
long
don't
time.
do...
Because
I don't...
because
My brother has not done his manhood.
I can't hear anybody again.
People
I have
don't
to
do
keep quiet
it.
because
People
I
don't.
realize
Not
that
everybody
I'm
do
boxed
it. There are
in
many Okrika women that will not take part in this ceremony that will marry and born. Don't say that.
So,
let them
like
come.
this,
I realize.
Listen,
She
ma,
said she didn't take part.
I realize that I am boxed
Okay.
into having to speak up against the culture. That's why I said
Yeah.
I had to, but I have to say it because you get married. You want to get married in a village. In my in-laws area, for you to get married in that village, if you have not done a ceremonial party burial for your father.
The Diogbe.
Yes, if you don't do for your father, you cannot inherit your father's properties.
Yes.
If you, as a first daughter, you cannot get married outside the village, you need to go to the village to go and do your wedding. Your wedding is not recognized. The family members will not come to your wedding ceremony. This is not opt-in, opt-out. This is a case of the culture. If you want to
understand?
We have to roll
for us to do burial in your
time.
father's side, you have to go. If the girl
We
has
have
to
to
bury
run out.
there are
Because
cultures that
I'm
cannot
a
bury your
and she has
place.
mentioned the Diogbe, she will seek to understand.
Okay.
So there are
I'm not arguing
ancestral
the culture.
customs
I'm
and
saying
oaths
that it's not option.
where if the first son is allowed, they usually use the first son to uphold customs and practices of family. Each family had their tradition.
Yeah.
There are some that are kingmakers. There are some that are royalty that can become king. If the first child does not take part, how can he know
Because
what to do?
what Nyma is saying
No,
is
you
they
don't
don't
go to
against
the
it.
Diogbe
I'm not
custom
against
now.
it.
You're not
I'm
against
saying
culture.
Mariah
they
is
don't
saying
have
we
a
have to
choice.
wrap up.
Even the courts have upheld the
So
Diogbe custom.
nobody here
Andy
is
Mama,
against
they're not
culture.
listening to you.
So nobody here is against culture. It's important that we state that very clearly. We just say that it needs to be reevaluated, it needs to be reviewed, and you are saying it should become voluntary. You are saying
Call out what is
sometimes,
wrong.
Voluntary.
sometimes it's not voluntary. Okay, that's all we can take on today's show. See you tomorrow. Bye for now.